Shalom, Shalom, and welcome. Welcome to the White Rose Family Channel. If you're tuning in for the first time, my name is Symmanayah, and these are the words I'm compelled to present before an awakening set-apart nation. To those drawn by the Almighty Creator Yahuah, to His word that was manifest from the virgin birth to walking among us, to being sent, His Spirit being sent, all in the name of Yahusha. And in due season, O Yashar'al, as we find ourselves being forged together in unity, those who will fulfill specific end-time tasks, we will grow to understand the dynamics that Yahuah sent His word in Yahusha's name. No Trinity, none whatsoever. And He separated it this way, my brothers and sisters, so when man grabbed a hold or touched Yahusha, they wouldn't say that I got a hold of Yahuah. For Yahuah is spirit everywhere at all times. Yahusha was the manifestation of the word of Yahuah. And we will grow to understand those dynamics in the days ahead. Before I get into this segment, I want to say this. The views expressed in these messages do not necessarily reflect the views of the owners, shareholders, management, and or sponsors. With that said, let's get started. Great departures. Great departures. Yashar'al, there's a lot of talk about what's going on and what people are doing. There's a lot of magnification of the actions of the wicked and the evil who are outside of the set-apart court, outside the set-apart nation of Yashar'al. A lot of talk. There's a lot of confusion, anxiety. And there are those that are awakening, thirsty and hungry, some more than others. But one of the things I want to bring to your attention as I speak of often, it's time, O Yashar'al, for us to recognize the realities of the very thing we say we believe. And if we read the scriptures, and if we are awakened to the fact that we are in the end times and that there are promises made by the Almighty Father which will be kept, one of the things that we will grow to realize is that there will be movement. In order to have a final exodus from the four corners of the earth before the physical return of Yahusha, there will be movement. In order to witness and speak about the destruction that the scriptures speak of, such as earthquake in diverse places, nations rising against nations, rain against rain, famine, pestilence, and disease. In order to witness that that came to be, there must be movement. Individuals that was removed from the footprint of those actions. Do we stay where we are? Some will be ordered to shelter in place and echo the last words that a person will hear that will reflect that this is all a part of the plan of the Almighty Father. Some will die for various reasons, but there will be those that will be physically alive as these things unfold. And I submit to you, great departures are indeed coming. Come with me, my brothers and sisters. Let's talk about great departures. I invite you to consider that there will be movement during these final days that will reflect the final exodus and so much more. Stay with me, brothers, sisters. It's time to face the realities of what is expected. In other words, what are your expectations? Have you had the discussions with your brother, your sister, regarding movement, great departures, departing from areas where we have been so comfortable with being in? It's time to face those realities. Let's look at some passages regarding actual transitions, or should I say, words to take heed so that we are not among the ranks of those who will be led astray. Matthew 24th chapter, verses 4 through 13. Let us read. Matthew 24th chapter, verses 4 through 13. And Yahusha answered and said to them, take heed that no one leads you astray. For many shall come in my name, saying, I am the Messiah, and they shall lead many astray. That's a departure, my brothers and sisters. And you shall begin to hear of fightings and reports of fighting. See that you are not troubled, for these have to take place, but the end is not yet. For nation shall rise against nation and reign against reign. There shall be scarcities of food, deadly diseases, and earthquakes in places. Do you think there will be great departures to come away from where there is famine and scarcity of food? Do you think there will be great departures coming away from deadly diseases and or earthquakes? It said, all these are the beginning of birth pains. Then they shall deliver you up to affliction and kill you, and you shall be hated by all nations for my name's sake. Do you think there would be a great departure of those moving out of the way of those who want to deliver them up? Great departures, a shuffling of people, a movement of a set-apart nation, a movement of people who seek to save their own lives and will lose it. But more than anything, O Yashar'al, a movement of a set-apart nation who know to die for Yahusha's sake, for the sake of the Almighty Father, we gain life everlasting. It says, and then many shall stumble. They shall deliver up one another and shall hate one another. And many false prophets shall rise up and lead many astray. It didn't say might, it say will lead many astray. Great departures, my brothers and sisters, requires us coming away from such wicked false prophets, pastors, teachers, or leaders. It's saying because of the increase in lawlessness, the love of many shall become cold. But he who shall have endured to the end shall be saved. This is talking about to the end of their life, my brothers and sisters. People are dying, physically dying now, and have died behind us. So, do you think a person is not going to be saved until resurrection? How then do we have the power to heal, to cast out demons, to be anointed to teach, to function as a set-apart nation, unless we are indeed saved? Saved until our very end. Individually, that end will differ. There's more related to movement, my brothers and sisters. Come with me to Luke 21:8-17. Let us visit these passages. Luke 21:8-17 says, and he says, see that you are not led astray. For many shall come in my name, saying, I am, and the time is near. Then do not go after them. But when you hear of fighting and unrest, do not be alarmed, for these have to take place first, but the end is not immediately. And I'm reading from the Scriptures versions 2009 on my sword. I'm at Luke 21:10 now. Then he said to them, nation shall rise against nation and reign against reign. And there shall be great earthquakes in various places, and scarcities of food and deadly diseases, and there shall be horrors and great signs from heaven. But before all this, they shall lay their hands on you and persecute you, delivering you up to the congregations in prisons, being brought before sovereigns and rulers for my name's sake. And they should turn out to you for a witness. Therefore resolve in your heart not to premeditate on what to answer. For I shall give you a mouth and wisdom, which all your adversaries shall not be able to refute or resist. And you shall also be betrayed by parents, and brothers, and relatives, and friends. And some of you shall be put to death, and you shall be hated by all because of my name. Yashar'al, O Yashar'al, do you not agree that there will be movement? Do you not agree that there will be time of great departures? I strongly encourage you to begin having discussions regarding leaving, whether it be that neighborhood, that city, that town, that county, that state, or that country. Have the discussions regarding movement. For it is real, O Yashar'al, there will be and has already begun great departures. What are you going to do? Follow the crowd? Follow the largest fellowships? There are some community heads and fellowship heads that say, we're not going anywhere. This is our land. I'm not moving. There may be those that are receiving instructions to help those that will be headed towards the exit points to fulfill the final exodus. And then there will be those who are just rebellious, belligerent, undiscerning, and they will face destruction as earthquakes and volcanoes and tsunamis, as massive destructions, as signs from the heavens ramp up. My brothers and sisters, I will now take you to even more reasons to prepare for great departures. Prepare, O Yashar'al. Some will leave with just the clothes on their backs. Others will find favor and have resources to bring and share. Trust the words of the Almighty Father. He knows our needs, and he will equip us with all that is necessary to fulfill the tasks that are given us. There are many reasons why we must come to expect that we will witness great departures. Let's continue with more reasons why. Why should we expect great departures? Why should we even respond or pay attention to the words regarding great departures? Consider the 8th chapter of Amos, verses 9 through 14. 8th chapter of Amos says, and it shall be in that day, declares the Master Yahuah, that I shall cause the sun to go down at noon, and shall darken the earth on a day of brightness, and shall turn your festivals into mourning, and all your songs into lamentations, and bring sackcloth on all loins, and baldness on every head, and shall make it like mourning for an only son, and its end like a day of bitterness. See, days are coming, declares the Master Yahuah, that I shall send a hunger in the land, not a hunger of bread, nor a thirst for water, but for hearing the words of the Almighty One. And they shall wander from sea to sea, from north to east. They shall diligently search, seeking the word of Yahuah, but they shall not find it. Let me pause for a minute on that 12th verse. You see, my brothers, even this day, as we enter into end times, there are brothers and sisters looking for books across the sea, from one sea to the next, looking for old writings, trying to find the word of Yahuah, notwithstanding that his word is alive. His spirit is alive. His spirit comes in Yahusha's name. They will wander. They will ignore those whom the Almighty Father will speak through, not knowing that that is the Almighty Father speaking to them when he speaks through us one towards another. You see, that time is now. We see a lot of people running around, some with the wrong intentions, void of hearing and discerning the voice of the Spirit of Yahuah that comes to us through the scriptures being made alive in us and speaking through us one towards another. It say, in that day the beautiful maidens and strong young men shall faint from thirst. Those swearing by the guilt of Shalum, who say, as your mighty one lives, O Dan, and as the way of Beersheba lives, and they shall fall and never rise again. Yashar'al, my brother, my sister, there's so much work to be done. I cannot stress it enough. Let us visit these words. With the work that's ahead of us, with the challenges ahead of us, let us remember that this plan belongs to the Almighty Father, and He works His will through us, in us. Come with me to Revelation 6:8. And look, I saw a green horse, and he who sat on it had the name of Death. And grave followed, or Sheol followed with him. And authority was given to him over a fourth of the earth to kill with the sword, with hunger, with death, and by the beast of the earth. Do we want to just be spectators? Do we want to hang out and be an audience to watch this happen? Or will they be great departures to move out of the way of what's to come? Why we must be mindful of great departures, my brothers and sisters. For we are living in such times that we will witness the fulfillment of what is written as it relates to these end time prophecies. Revelation 8:6-11. Come with me as I read. Revelation 8:6-11. And the seven messengers who held the seven trumpets prepared themselves to sound. And the first messenger sounded, and there came to be hail and fire mixed with blood, and they were thrown to the earth, and a third of the trees were burnt up, and all green grass was burnt up. Do you think we'll just be standing there watching it, in the midst of it? Or will there be a great departure, O Yashar'al? He goes on to say, and the second messenger sounded, and what looked like a great mountain burning with fire was thrown into the sea, and a third of the sea became blood. Could it be talking about a volcano? Will we just stand on or near the volcano to be cast in the sea? Or will there be a great departure, my brothers, my sisters? 9th verse, I'm in the 8th chapter of Revelation. And a third of the living creatures in the sea died, and a third of the ships were destroyed. Do you think there were men, women, and children on these ships? Do you think there were those who departed and were not in the footprint of such destruction? And the third of the messengers sounded, and the third messenger sounded, and a great star fell from the heaven, burning like a torch, and it fell on a third of the rivers and on the fountains of water. And the name of the star is called Wormwood, and a third of the waters became wormwood. And many men died from the waters because they were made bitter. Reasons why we should prepare for great departure. Reasons why we want to make sure, O Yashar'al, make sure that we discern what the Almighty Father is saying to us, so that we're in the right place at the right time with the right people doing the right things. It would be wise to realize that we are in the last days as we know it. Stay with me, my brothers and sisters. There is more regarding great departures. I invite your patience. Let us look, examine these words, and accept the fact that movement will be a component of deliverance. You see, Isaiah 11:12 clearly states, and he shall raise a banner for the nations, and gather the outcasts of Yashar'al, and assemble the dispersed of Yehudah from the four corners of the earth. Does this sound like great departures will be in existence for such a time as this? Isaiah, that was Isaiah 11:12. Isaiah 43:5-7. And I want you to pay close attention as I read this passage, these passages here. Do not fear, for I am with you. I shall bring your seed from the east and gather you from the west. I shall say to the north, give them up, and to the south, do not keep them back. Bring my sons from afar and my daughters from the ends of the earth. Now listen carefully as I read the 7th verse. All those who are called by my name, whom I have created, formed even made for my esteem, whom he has made for his esteem, to fulfill this final exodus. There will be those who will read the passage when it say, all Yashar'al, and no one left behind. Do you know that those who are Yashar'al, that are set apart, they are those of us who will face physical death and be in the bosom of Abraham. So no obedient set apart one would be physically alive, missing passage that includes being gathered from the four corners of the earth. Such destruction will come, but for the set apart children, death to die in Yahusha is gain. Let us be mindful of all that the scriptures speak of, for it does speak of martyrs for Yahusha's name. There's more regarding deliverance, the final exodus. Some will even say the greater exodus. Come with me to Jeremiah 23:3. Jeremiah 23:3 says, therefore I shall gather the remnant of my flock out of all the lands where I have driven them, and shall bring them back to their fold, and they shall bear an increase. Read the whole chapter. I shared Jeremiah 23:3. Ezekiel 11:17 say, therefore say thus, Ezekiel 11, verse 17. Therefore say, thus saith the Master Yahuah, I shall gather you from the peoples, and I shall assemble you from the lands where you have been scattered, and I shall give you the land of Yashar'al. My brothers and sisters, there's work to be done, and it will be done. What position will we be in as we witness these things come to be? The time is now to begin seeking to discern how we will be delivered, how to identify great departures. Do we leave everything? Or will there be some that find favor and have resources and supplies? Or will we meet resources and supplies at our destinations? Yashar'al or Yashar'al, this is real and it's serious. The time for fun and games, the laughter and the folly is over. It's time to sincerely desire the meat of the word. Discern the realities of what must come to be in order for us to be a unified, set-apart nation. Great departures. There will be emotions flying, my brothers and sisters. And I have no doubt trying times will get intense. There are questions we must seek answers pertaining to those great departures. Consider seeking with lead-in words such as how, when, where, with whom, are good lead-in words to seeking answers. Are we entering into intense times? What must be done to fulfill what is expected of us individually and collectively? And look for answers. Let us not kick against the pricks, my brothers and sisters. Let us not quench the spirit or attempt to quench the spirit of the Almighty Father. It would be wise to see the importance of these words as well. Proverbs 3:11 and 12. Hear these words, O Yashar'al, for I speak of these actions often, for it is necessary in the perfecting of the body of a set-apart nation, a set-apart family. Proverbs 3:11 and 12 say, my son, do not despise the discipline of Yahuah, and do not loathe his reproof. For whom Yahuah love, he reprove, as a father the son whom he delights in. That was Proverbs 3:11 and 12. Come with me to Revelation 3:19. It reads, as many as I love, I reprove and discipline, so be ardent and repent. Yashar'al, O Yashar'al, discipline is necessary. It is a requirement in the perfecting of the body. Come with me to Hebrews chapter 12, verses 7 through 13. The whole entire chapter speaks of discipline, but I have presented chapter 12, verse 7 through 13. Let me also say it is important to understand the process of discipline, what to expect. Consider these words. Hebrews 7 through 13 say, if you endure discipline, the Almighty One is treating you as sons. For what son is there whom a father does not discipline? But if you are without discipline, of which all have become sharers, then you are illegitimate and not sons. Moreover, we indeed had fathers of our flesh disciplining us, and we paid them respect. Shall we not much rather be subject to the Father of spirits and live? For they indeed discipline us for a few days as it seemed best to them. But he does it for our profit so that we might share his apartness. But hear these words clearly before you want to take your ego or a bag of excuses to fight against discipline. Yield to discipline. And hear these words, my brothers and sisters, in the 11th verse. And indeed, no discipline seemed pleasant at the time, but grievous. But afterwards, it yields the peaceable fruit of righteousness to those who have been trained by it. So strengthen the hands which hang down and the weak knees, and make straight path for your feet, lest the lame be turned aside, but instead to be healed. You see, my brothers and sisters, there are those who will yield to discipline, repent, and ask for forgiveness, and be healed, and be renewed, while there are others wasting and redeeming and consuming time trying to justify erroneous actions, teachings, and behaviors and practices. Those who yield to correction and discipline would have moved on and pressed on. In some cases, those who are still arguing, trying to defend the ego, will find themselves among the ranks of those left behind. Let it be known, we have individual responsibilities, O Yashar'al, and duties towards one another. Great departures require yielding to certain processes that are necessary. Let me continue. Consider these words, my brother, my sister, my family. Consider these words. Luke 22, verse 31 and 32. Luke 22, verses 31 and 32 reads, and the master said, Shimon, Shimon, see, Satan has asked for you to sift you as wheat. But I have prayed for you that your belief should not fail. And when you have turned, strengthen your brothers. So as you grow in belief, let us know we have an obligation to strengthen our brothers. And this is referring to our brothers and our sisters, my brothers and sisters. The family of Yashar'al. Grow strong in belief. Know what must be done. Proverbs 27:17, I speak of it often. Iron is sharpened by iron, and a man sharpens the face of his friend. And I say to you, O Yashar'al, this is talking about like metals, iron sharpening iron. When they come together and clang, the impurities create a spark, a reaction, and they fall away, leaving a sharpened edge. Is that not what we should do towards one another? Have like mind, come close together, and remove the impurities, and possess our vessels with all set apartness. Galatians 6:1 say, brethren, if a man be overtaken in fault, you which are spiritual, restore such a one in the spirit of meekness, considering thyself, lest thou also be tempted. My brothers and sisters, there are scriptures that talk about one planting, one watering, one giving the increase. But notice when I read, let me go back there. Notice when I read in Galatians 6:1, it says, restore such a one in the spirit of meekness. The spirit of meekness. You know, humbleness and meekness are two words that are misunderstood. Some people think they are passive words. Meekness is the ability to step aside and yield to what is true and present it in a way in which one can receive it. Humbleness is putting our flesh, our habits and behaviors in check to what is right. So when we discover what is wrong, we humble and yield to what is right. Yield to correction. Meekness. And notice that you saw the word spirit close by. For at all times, the Almighty Father wants us to be conscious and mindful of his spirit working in us and through us. Let us behold what is necessary, my brothers and sisters, for the great departures that have begun. Rise up, my brothers and sisters. Our redemption is nearer than one thinks. Choose wisely, my brothers and sisters. Choose wisely, lest we find ourselves drifting away among those led astray. Yes, there are things to do. Yes, the wicked is doing a lot. There's a lot of confusion, anxiety. But know this, there are guides, there are wise counsel, there are wise pastors, bishops, teachers, mores, who are obedient. And there are those that are wicked and are an abomination to set apartness. Let us learn to discern who those are. And let us learn to receive one another with the power and might of set apartness working in us, through us, one towards another. Yashar'al, O Yashar'al, great departures are coming. What are you doing about it? What are you prepared to do about it? Have discussions about what must be done and what is being done among the body of a set-apart nation, and know what is expected. Great departures, O Yashar'al. And if you've learned anything or received anything that confirm or reaffirm, that strengthens and encourages you, share, my brothers and sisters. Share. Like. Subscribe, my brothers and sisters. Subscribe and help this channel grow to grant opportunity for others to hear what you heard. Yashar'al, O Yashar'al. If you listen to this from beginning to the end, I salute you in your pursuit of set apartness. I salute you as your brother and thank you. Stay tuned. There is much more to come, my brothers and sisters. Remember, subscribe, like, share, my brothers and sisters. If there is nothing more than to do that, it will help in ways that speak volume. Yashar'al, there's work to be done. In these words, someone may find it compelling enough to be motivated to help you, to draw closer to you if you are walking in obedience, to us, to one another. Thank you, my brother, my sister, my family. Be encouraged. Be encouraged. The Almighty Father Yahuah is not slack concerning his promises to his set-apart children. The Almighty Father, whose word comes in the name of Yahusha, will prove to guide us until our final days and beyond. On that note, I end by saying, Shalum to you, my brother, my sister, my family. Shalum.